Already. Good evening and welcome to the 10th episode. I was just saying there to Toby, the 10th episode of Tuesday Night Live. Who would have thought we'd have ever made it this far? But, it's good to see you. And we are here tonight discussing two main topics, but we'll probably ramble on about something else as well. We're going to be talking about that Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I can't really say it properly, but, Baku GP is how I've put it on the title. And we're also going to be talking about the World Snooker Championship, stuff that's been going on in that. I know Toby's watched a little bit of it, but I'll probably be taking the lead over that one. Good evening to Craig Oldham. How are you doing? And thank you very much for sending me FM17 boxed. If it happens, You what, Toby?
What a legend.
I know, what a legend. Yeah, I'm one away, apart from this year's game, of completing the full collection of Football Managers. Although I have discovered that you can get FM10 and FM09 in the Arsenal edition as well, so I'll have to go and get them. But, no, hopefully everybody's good. All 5 that are watching, 2 of which are me and Toby, so hopefully you're all good. And good evening to my co-host, Mr. Toby Jones. How are you doing?
Evening. Just realised from the preview that my cupboard is open. I'm very good. We had a little bit of a chat, obviously, just before we started, and we are going to be talking about that Grand Prix, in which we're going to have to talk about Verstappen, aren't we? I can't wait for that. And you're going to wait till about 10 minutes in when everyone's here, and they can all see the height of the debate about that. Yeah. But yeah, I've been watching a little bit of the snooker, admittedly not as much this week. I'd watched more of the first round stuff, but I've watched a little bit of it. But I'll let Joe talk for once and take the lead on that one. And as he says, we'll end up talking about some rubbish, because it's all sport tonight, which is a bit sad.
Mm-hmm. I know, yeah.
It won't end up being all sport. It won't end up being all sport, I guarantee you.
We've been doing well having the whole sport and gaming topic, but I don't think there has been too much of a gaming topic this week, except if you are a PlayStation Plus member, you can have Beyond Two Souls for free this month, which I think is quite a good game to get for free. It's a PlayStation exclusive, I believe, and it's a critically acclaimed one, and I think the new one in that sort of series is out at the end of this month, so it'll be a good point to start your journey in that. Good evening to Robert Pontin as well. How are you doing? But you what?
Evening, Ricky.
Ricky, yeah. Shall we just get into talking about that Grand Prix at the weekend? Obviously, practice started the way it always does, pointless. We were having this debate with Rivlod on Thursday, actually, saying that practice isn't really that representative of what's going to happen, and as it proved to be, as it usually is. It's just the teams use it as extra testing. You can't really read anything from it, I don't think so. We obviously had practice, and then it's Senna's death anniversary today.
Aye.
I actually read your tweet about that before, Robert. I forgot to reply to it, but yeah, I did see that. So yeah, we were talking about Senna on Thursday, weren't we? We were debating heavily about that.
Yeah, we could go into that a bit more tonight, but
yeah,
we'll stick to the Baku Grand Prix 2018 for now.
Mm-hmm. What are you on about, Joe?
Oh God.
Practice isn't representative, Rivlod. Ferrari, I mean... Right, let's just let Rivlod have his own podcast in the chat. Anyway, so we came into qualifying on Saturday. Now, I didn't watch qualifying, so...
Hold on.
What?
Ferrari had the pace apart from second practice and first practice.
Shall I get the practice results up? So,
well, yeah, because Bottas was quickest in P1, and the fastest Ferrari was 10th. Fastest Ferrari was second in second practice. I'll just mug myself there.
Yes, but Vettel was only 11th.
Yeah.
So Vettel after Friday was looking like he might finish 10th if you take practice into account. To be fair, Sergio Perez finished 3rd in first practice. That must be that must be it. Third practice is usually more representative because they're getting ready for qualifying, and you can see, the top 3 teams generally up there, apart from Daniel Ricciardo, who had a bit of a weird session by the looks of it. But I didn't actually watch qualifying, so I'll let you take over. Anything interesting happening in qualifying?
Just trying to think now. It wasn't. I don't think it was the best of sessions. It was. I'll just have a quick look. Obviously, Vettel got pole. Yeah, that's right. They all kind of bottled it. That was what happened. Kimi bottled it, didn't he?
Again.
He was fastest P sector 1, sector 2. I was just sat there thinking, it's not going to happen. I've come to that realisation now. And he had a tank slap right at the end of the penultimate corner. Could have happened to anyone, really. But he lost a second out of that, which proves how much that start-finish straight makes up your time for the track. Because obviously he was about 2 tenths up, so from that mistake he lost 1.2 seconds, which is really frightening, to be quite honest. Other things to report from qualifying: Williams did quite well, 6th row, which has been brilliant for them this season. And Renault again, quite consistent. I know you're a Hulkenberg fan and did really well at the start of the race. Force India 4th row. Ricciardo narrowly beating Verstappen, and Hamilton beating Bottas, only for the 2nd time in 6 races.
Now, the one thing of note I can see from this qualifying is that Nico Hulkenberg's streak of starting 7th on the grid, which I think was the last 7 Grand Prix or something that he'd started 7th.
Since Mexico last year.
It's now over, which is sad. But at least he doesn't have to aim for 7th anymore. He can go for pole now. All of that. But yeah, I totally get you about that mile-long straight or whatever it is. It's, if you don't get a good exit out of turn 16, I think it is, you obviously lose so much time, and that's the way it goes. But it has to be said, Raikkonen is having a bit of a Hamilton 2014 thing, where Hamilton kept making mistakes on his pole position laps at the sort of start of the 2014 season. So Kimi's got to turn that around, because it is costing him points at the end of the day. And yeah, so qualifying pretty standard. Hamilton seems to be back on somewhat of form, out qualifying Bottas for the first time in 2. So that's encouraging, I think, because I think if Hamilton doesn't step up his game, then we're not going to have much of a title fight this season, which is a bit sad, because I think Vettel is probably in the best place at the moment. But that's the way it goes. We've got Marussia in the chat. Look at that. Marussia. Remember Marussia as a team before Mana. Aaron Hudson, good evening. How are you doing? Force India had some strong updates. I mean, it's Baku at the end of the day. I think all of the Mercedes teams had a good weekend this weekend, so we'll see next time out in Spain. That's a good test of car ability, I guess. And we'll see McLaren 19th and 20th, no doubt. Anyway, so going into that race, obviously the start was a bit crazy, the first lap. Lots of little incidents, lots of carbon fibre flying about, and the big incident was, of course, Ocon and Kimi, and I know you have an opinion on that. Do you want to share that?
Well, at the end of the day, Ocon was I don't really see why he was blaming Raikkonen, because Ocon was going up the inside of Kimi. Sorry, the other way around. And basically, say the barrier's right next to my little finger there. And Kimi's gone up the inside. Ocon didn't give him the space. Kimi wasn't going to back out. And to be fair, if Kimi did back out, there wasn't really much he could do, because he'd already got to the corner. And they're tagged, and Ocon went off. And I don't really see what Ocon was moaning about. But
I don't really see. The only thing I see is that I don't really see that corner as a very good overtaking position. I think maybe maybe Kimi could have just waited a little bit. But because I don't know how Ocon could have given much more space. That's the problem with it.
But then if he hadn't have made a move, then people will be moaning he's not aggressive.
100%.
It can't really win that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Vettel had a good start. Yeah. I think what happens at the front on how it's done for a while. Hamilton kind of not necessarily backed off at the start, but didn't make a massive move into that first corner because he wants to make sure that he finishes the race. And as you could see, it paid off because he won the Grand Prix. God knows how he actually did so. Baku's one of the best races. It's a crap track. It's the worst. Apart from Monaco, it's the worst track on the calendar. But for some reason, the formula of drivers thinking, just going bonkers on that track seems to make brilliant races. But
I think it's because you have to go for it so much to actually get any time out of it. No one from playing the F1 game. I know you just have to. I don't know. There's something about that track where you have to sort of give it another 10% to get any sort of lap time out of it. So maybe that's the AI being too strong on Baku, or it's it's one of those tracks. But yeah, all three races have been a joy to watch, really. So we can't fault it for that. Aaron's doing fine, and he's not at work, so naturally he celebrates that by coming to watch the 10th iteration of Tuesday Night Live. But we will respond to your comments at some point, Rivlud. There's just a lot of them at the moment, and we're trying to systematically move through the race, so don't think we're ignoring you. We're just ignoring you for now. No, I'm joking. So obviously Vettel started quite cleanly, and we had that safety car, and then there was the very interesting moment where we had the restart of the safety car again, and it was Hamilton versus Vettel just like last year. And I don't know, I didn't know how I really felt about Vettel sort of half bolting it and then really slowing down again, which is within his right as the pace setter, but I think it is sort of an underhand agreement between the drivers that once you bolt, you don't dummy.
It was only because Hamilton looked a bit of a fool. It was only because Vettel bolted and Hamilton nearly went into him. It's gone, it'd be daft. I think, put it this way, Hamilton would have done the same.
Yeah,
so you've got to exploit it to. I don't think there was anything wrong with that. Had there been a crash, of course, there'd been a lot more talking points. But it's happened in the past. I remember Vettel and Button in Singapore, I think 2011. Button was very close to running into Vettel. You've just got to, the front guy's got track position. As long as he's not, completely whacking into anyone, then he's completely within his rights. And as Rivlud said, he was clever, which, is fair enough. He stumped Hamilton and he got away and retained his position, which obviously wasn't for the whole race, but, who'd have seen what would have happened.
Yeah, one thing I guess I think it was after the safety car. You had the Red Bulls really struggling on their tyres, and that would probably come back to bite them later on. But the Renaults looked really good at the start. I don't know whether that was just because they switched on their tyres quicker than everybody else, but they looked pretty racy. Sainz and Hulkenberg both making decent moves on people, and
and the Red Bulls. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I mean, they were the lead Renault cars for quite a while in the race. So, and then Hulkenberg obviously had that incident, which devastated me, to be honest. Because whenever there's a race where you think, oh, Hulkenberg could be on for a podium here, something happens. So he bottled it 2 years in a row in Baku, and he's went into the wall. It's just not meant to be, is it? But Sainz had a strong race. He finished 5th in the end. So definite pace in that Renault car. And I think by the end of the season, I think we could start having 4 or maybe 5 teams battling for podiums and victories. It really depends how Mercedes and Ferrari develop, if they sort of stay where they're at now and McLaren maybe catch up.
I personally think that Mercedes will be the quickest team by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I think Mercedes are always better at developments, and I think maybe going to maybe potentially after Singapore, because Mercedes are always poor around Singapore for some reason. But after Singapore, I think Mercedes will not necessarily dominate, but be a lot more dominant than they have been so far. And about that qualifying lap in Australia, I'd have loved to have seen to this day, and it's just one of them things that it's almost scripted, really. I'd have loved to have seen what Bottas would have done, because that would have shown whether it was just a phenomenal lap by Hamilton or whether the Mercedes had genuinely got the pace there. And that would have been interesting. 3 poles for Vettel, yeah, absolutely. I think, obviously, Kimi bottled it here. China was boring anyway. And Bahrain, was it? Kimi's been on the front row apart from this race, so Kimi's bottled in every race, basically. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the Red Bull incident in a minute. But firstly, I want to have a quick chat about Charles Leclerc. 14th on the grid, which is brilliant, compared to his teammate who was in
18th by the looks of it.
18th on the grid. Yeah. 18th on the grid, that's right. And just a phenomenal race, he stayed out of trouble. And he had a quicker, fastest lap than Alonso, a quicker, fastest lap than Van Dorn, quicker, fastest lap than his teammate, Gasly, Magnussen. Look into that how you will. I mean, it's not that much of a big deal, but, But he stayed consistent, didn't get involved in all the rubbish and all that. And he had a good strategy and just got on with it. And, that's something that Sauber need to do. They need to exploit the chance they got. Ericsson got one in Bahrain and picked up a few points, after doing that brilliant one stop, and that's something that Sauber have got to do to beat their rival this year is Williams. I don't potentially Toro Rosso, but I think that Toro Rosso probably pick up a few more consistent points. So, but saying that, 8 points and 2 points for Ericsson, I mean that's 10 points. So after the first 4 races, I'm sure Sauber are really happy with that. And
yeah, they didn't score a point last. Oh,
yeah?
No, I think Verline maybe got a couple of points last year, but.
And I should say with last year, I think that, it's a lot better from last year purely because they've got the new engine, which makes them more competitive, which is brilliant to see for Sauber. And
I think teams have dropped off, I think Williams have obviously dropped off massively. Toro Rosso have got a theoretically worse engine inside them, so, maybe 2 teams sort of dropping down a little bit has helped Sauber catch up.
Yeah.
And Force India, Rivlin has said they've brought strong updates for this race. That remains to be seen. But they've had a very poor start of the season as well. So, is it more other teams have dropped off and Sauber have been allowed to catch up rather than the strides they've made? I really don't know. But no, Charles Leclerc fully deserved his result, and it'll be interesting to see if he can build on that throughout the season, because obviously Monaco is going to be a big place where Sauber can potentially get points. Maybe France. I don't know what France is going to bring up, but Leclerc will hopefully have an extra couple of tenths in both of those Grand Prix, because he's from Monaco, but I guess that's France, really. So,
debatable.
That's... so hopefully, this is where it begins, but hopefully it's not just a one-off. Ericsson did all right in the end to finish 11th as well. I think, a Sauber finishing in 11th is a good result, even though there were only 13 finishers, but we won't mention that. But Fernando Alonso finishing 7th again seems to be where he lives this year. Pulling everything out of that McLaren that he can, bless him. He started 16th on the grid, according to my graphic. Surely that's not right, because Van Dorn...
The other way around, I think Alonso... I think this is all jumbled up, to be honest, on BBC. BBC are rubbish.
Yeah, so Alonso qualified 13th. So.
Yeah, started 12th. Actually, he started 12th, because Hulkenberg got a penalty, didn't he?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where that came from. Where did... Yeah, according to Hulkenberg's thing, he started 9th, so we know that that's wrong. And it says Grosjean started 12th, even though he didn't...
And apparently Raikkonen started 13th, so yeah.
What a load of rubbish. Anyway, so Fernando Alonso finishing 7th, getting the most out of that McLaren. Lance Stroll, your mate, finishing 8th. not quite his 3rd place from last year, is it? But, still got points for Williams, their first of the year, so I guess that's not to be sniffed at. Van Dorn, 9th. fairly close to Alonso in the end, but that's probably helped by the safety car. And I know Van Dorn was really struggling at one point, and I think he pitted again just before the second safety car, or the third safety car, however many it was. So, Van Dorn may be a little bit lucky in the end, and that flattering him a bit. Brendan Hartley getting his first ever championship points as well. Obviously, you backed him to score consistent points at the start of the season, so we'll see how he goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I remember that. I don't.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing that driver of the day for you was Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
And I think for me it's a toss up between him and Sainz. I know Sainz started a lot higher up, but I think he had a really good race. Actually, Sainz. So. Maybe even Stroll. I think there's a case for Stroll. He seemed to battle well in the field, so he seems to just like street tracks, or just this track in particular. Gasly finishing a disappointing 12th, and Magnussen propping up the field.
Well, they had an incident. I haven't seen it, but apparently they had a bit of an incident which caused them to come back. But it wasn't on the tally.
Yeah. You make your own luck with safety cars. I disagree with that, to be honest with you, Rivlud.
Yeah, gotcha.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you can make a genius strategy call or something like that, but generally it's just where you're at on the track when the safety car comes out. What about Sergio Perez? Well, we'll talk about him. So obviously, after all of the drama, which we'll talk about in a minute, Lewis Hamilton obviously won the Grand Prix. We don't know how that happened. Kimi Räikkönen finished second in the end, which I think was excellent considering he was at the back after the first lap.
Yeah.
And Sergio Perez, always the man in the right place at the right time, finishes third. I wouldn't say Perez had a particularly strong race, but, he finished third. And he had a good battle with Sebastian Vettel towards the end as well, although Vettel had a huge flat spot on his tyre, so I don't really know whether Perez would have been able to keep behind a 100% Sebastian Vettel, but fair play to him. A 9th podium in his career. I think that makes him the most successful Mexican driver of all time. Which he's done most of it through making the most of being in the right place at the right time, and he nearly even won the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2012 because of that. But no, that's. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the championship, which is quite surprising. The season he's had, that he's been so consistent, really. People saying, "Oh, Hamilton's not with it," but he's still getting the results, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
I just think everyone else has been quite inconsistent. I mean, there's been 3 points available. Goods point out, Vettel hasn't been on the podium since Bahrain when he got his 2 wins. Obviously, in China he finished down in 8th, didn't he? And he's finished 4th here. So that's a good point. Obviously, Bottas had the DNF here. If he had finished first, he'd be on 65 points, whereas Hamilton would be on 63. And then, so it kind of isn't representative, I suppose, of what...
But then, Hamilton and Vettel will probably have retirements at some point, so it'll all come back in the end.
Yeah.
As it always seems to do, except 2016 with Hamilton. But we'll get over that quickly. So the big talking point was, of course, Romain Grosjean's crash on the safety car. So now then, I wish we could get a still of this on the screen. I'll try and find one. Hold on. And so first of all, give us your analysis on that. Do you think Ericsson was near him, or Hey dear, it was so funny. Like we were just talking about it before. How was it his engineer or was it Roman that was just?
It was his engineer, yeah.
Okay. See, when I first heard it, I thought it was Roman that went. Ericsson hit me or whatever. I can't actually find a photo of that. I'm sure there'll be one knocking about somewhere, but it was just really odd. Obviously under safety car, and then that caused another 3 or 4 laps of safety car just because he beached it. The recovery truck came out, and it was reversing all over the track. It was terrifying watching that, actually. You know, they didn't seem to know what they were doing, as marshals generally don't. I don't think they're very well trained, actually. By, you know, sometimes they're very good at the British Grand Prix and whatever, but at some races they just haven't got a clue. Grosjean's a muppet. Needs to assess his career choices. I mean, I think it's a bit harsh. It's one race, you know, everybody makes mistakes. It could happen to anybody. But Grosjean's had a poor start of the season. He's actually second bottom in the standings, behind ahead of Sirotkin. So,
well, he hasn't scored a point yet. He's just been massively unlucky. I'm obviously a Grosjean fan myself, and he's one of the best drivers on the grid. I just think that the car does favour Magnussen. There's no question about that. But Magnussen has drove well this year, so fair enough to him. But his career choice as well, I don't really think. Oh, sorry, he was joking. All right.
Okay. Just had to check.
Move on.
Right. So the other big talking point was obviously Bottas's big blowout before the end as well. Which I know you don't really want to talk about, but it was just an unfortunate thing, you know. All of this, all the stars seemed to align, and Bottas was there. He was leading the race. He was pulling away from Hamilton, and all of a sudden, pop. It was just like Hamilton at the British Grand Prix a few years ago, wasn't it?
I cheered cheer at least. But...
I think that was 2013, wasn't it? Oh, no.
It was, yeah. That was a brilliant race.
Yeah. But it was weird. It was exactly the same thing, but replays showed Bottas went over debris, which somehow hadn't been picked up by the marshals during the 8 laps of safety car or whatever it was. But, you know, it happens. That has looked very strong. I mean, it did in the first Grand Prix, but I don't think it's looked as strong since. I don't know what you think about that, Toby.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Red Bull crash. What Red Bull crash? Really don't know. Bottas was unlucky. Should have won the race. I mean, you could say a lot of drivers should have won that race. It's just the way
Stroll should have won the race.
It's worked out. You know, Vettel should have won that race. I think if we put everything out in front of us. But yeah, Bottas was unlucky, and I did really feel sorry for him after it. You know, he seems slumped, and I think that's going to hit him hard. And it's whether he can come back in the next Grand Prix and show everybody that he's having a really good season, because I think he has, and he's outperformed Hamilton quite bluntly so far. So, you know, we'll see if he can pick himself up, because that's what great drivers do. So hopefully he can, and we can see him in the title fight this season. But yeah, it's okay. Everybody wants us to talk about it, don't they? That Red Bull crash, the one that's on the thumbnail, the one that's behind your head, Toby. I mean, it was an incredible battle between two drivers that were... where's he gone? I don't actually know where he's gone. I don't know whether he's hiding or he's gone to see his mom or something like that. I really don't know. But if anybody can find Toby, that would be fantastic. We'll wait till he's back, though, until we properly talk about it. You want to see Norris in the Merc next year? I don't think that's going to happen, Robert. For a start, he's a McLaren driver, so I doubt he's going to go to Mercedes. Where is he? Is he coming? Are you on the floor, Toby? Did you hear what Hamilton said about us? I didn't. Russell winning the F2 was pretty fun to see the highlights. I've never watched an F2 race in my life. I went to console. That's nice. That's nice. To kiss his portrait of Verstappen. Yes, I love it. He said it was one of the worst races he's ever won. I mean, I don't think he'd have been saying that if Vettel's tyre had blown out. I think it was literally just because it was Bottas, his teammate. I think they get on all right, and I think he felt a bit embarrassed. Joe, how are you? I'm okay. Toby's going to come back soon. There he is. I knew you were there, Toby. But anyway, Hamilton told to keep his head up. Okay. Yeah, such a patronising thing to say. But never mind. So, Toby, obviously, a great battle beforehand. Lots of sort of back and forth between them. Ricciardo actually made the move stick. And then, for some reason, Verstappen was able to overcut him, which is not something we're used to in Formula 1 at the moment. But Ricciardo looked the quicker of the two. And, obviously it all came to that big incident, I guess. I don't know what lap it was. Shall we say lap 39? It was, apparently, according to BBC, but they are known to be wrong in this very podcast. So, basically, Verstappen crashed Ricciardo at the Grand Prix. No, I'm joking. I think it was just personally a racing incident. I think a lot has been made of it. I don't know what your opinion is on it.
Well, there was something similar obviously happened in 2010, wasn't there, with Vettel and Webber? And
yeah. I mean, that was Vettel's fault. I don't think anybody's...
Horner just looked pale there, didn't he, afterwards?
Well, it was quite funny because I don't know if you were watching it on 4, but...
I was, yeah.
Ben Edwards and Coulthard were just literally a couple of laps before talking to Christian Horner, and they were saying... a great battle so far between the drivers, and and he was like, yeah, it's good racing, we let them race, hopefully they'll keep it clean, and then a couple of laps later, boom.
Aye.
I mean, Verstappen, in my opinion, Verstappen did change his direction more than once on the straight, which I don't even think is allowed in the rules anymore. I think it used to be a gentleman's agreement, but I think it is actually in the rules now. But the huge speeds that the DRS was given cars this weekend was quite dangerous at times. You sort of seen the overspeed of Ricciardo, sometimes 20-30 kilometres quicker than Verstappen on the straight, and just ended up going into the back of him, and it could have quite easily turned the other way. Ricciardo goes round the outside and pulls off move of the century, but just happened to go into the back of him, and
I do agree with old lady plays actually in the comments.
What she says.
It was a racing incident, but I do think, and judge me how you want, it was Ricciardo more than Verstappen proportionally. I'm not saying it wasn't Verstappen's fault, because yes, he did turn in the braking zone. I think he was kind of, from what I haven't watched it that many times, I'm not that obsessed. Ricciardo's behind. I just move my hands up just so he can demonstrate
the swans are back, everybody.
Bro. And he's going on the straight. And as Ricciardo, I think, kind of moves in, he kind of moves, and then he kind of moves a bit again. And that caught Ricciardo off guard. Ricciardo went bang into him and they both went off. I don't quite know why Ricciardo couldn't continue. Obviously, it smashed Verstappen's rear wing and, the whole rear bodywork of the car. But for Ricciardo, I presume it was just, it was, his front wing that was off.
Maybe suspension damage, I'm not really sure.
Potentially, yeah. But it was good to see them both having a good battle. At the end of the day, that proves that it's not always going to be right. And luckily, it could have been a lot worse. Look at the Hartney and Gasly incident on Saturday. That made me have a few goosebumps after watching that. Jesus Christ. But I think there's always the Verstappen thing, isn't there? In all seriousness, there's always because it's Verstappen, he gets more flack for it, which I absolutely agree with. And I'm not actually a Verstappen fan, contrary to popular belief. But that doesn't mean I don't dislike him. I can't discard his talent. I think he's fantastic. And yes, he makes a few moves he shouldn't do, but I think on this occasion it showed that Ricardo isn't unbeatable and invincible is the correct word actually, because I think they're both a bit too aggressive sometimes. But then would you rather have that or drivers that don't try overtakes at all? At the end of the day, it's going to work sometimes, it's not going to work other times. They've had a debrief about it. As long as they are sort of okay about it now, they're not going to win the championship. They're always going to finish third in the constructors. And really, it doesn't make a massive difference in theory. Where's that pot? I don't actually have one. I've got pictures of Kimi Räikkönen, Roman Grosjean, Felipe Nasser, Will Stevens.
Felipe Nasser?
Will Stevens.
Will Stevens.
Roberto Merri.
No, you don't. Oh, he does as well. He does. Oh, God. Oh, dear.
I can't get the Merri one off your wall. Here's the Stevens one. Can you see that in shot?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
That's Stevens.
Get it back on the wall.
Alright. The showcase now.
Max Chilton Palmer.
I have actually got a picture of Chilton. NASA. Do you want to carry on?
Just one question, why?
Well, I went to the Italian Grand Prix and they signed a few pictures and I thought, why not?
How much did they cost you?
Nout. Max Chilton, Jules Bianchi, Jean-Eric Verne, Valtteri Bottas. And these two aren't signed. John Surtees and James Hunt. And I've also got, while we're on the topic, a lot of mini champ cars, but I've also got a Stuart Ford from 1999 signed by the very own. In fact, I'll let you guys get that unless you can see that in the shop. Signed by former F1 driver. But anyway, this is completely against the point. I don't know how we got onto that. Oh, the Verstappen portrait. It's all your fault, Rivlud.
As it always is.
Well, no comment. What we were saying. I don't know about that. He's over aggressive, and at the speeds we're looking at, it's fairly dangerous. F1 is dangerous. That's all I'm going to say. Should we move on to the snooker? Eddie Jordan? I don't think that's Eddie Jordan in 99 driving for Stewart. Come on.
Oh, dear.
Any guesses, Joe?
Stewart.
99. British?
Button.
No.
No, Hill. Irvine. Not Irvine. Aye, Irvine.
No. He was driving that year. Herbert, yeah.
There you go.
Johnny Herbert.
I knew it wasn't Button, but then I know you're obsessed with Jenson Button, so I don't know whether you got him to sign something that wasn't his. So, But he can't show the Verstappen portrait because it's... Oh, dear. Oh, right. I didn't know where that was going, old lady players. But it's covered in sloppy kisses, apparently. So
What else?
Mansell. Herbert. Ronnie's gone, Joe. Sad times. I know. Anyway, snooker. Judd Trump is your pick for the title. No chance. Anyway. Anybody watching the Madrid match? I know Toby is in the background, or at least he's aware
I'm
of it.
listening to the commentary, the video text commentary. 1-1 at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Anyway, so the snooker, obviously, there was quite a few shocks in the first round. I don't know how much of it you watched, Toby, but there was quite a few shocks. There was obviously Selby knocked out on the opening day, and then we had Murphy knocked out not long after that. Neil Robertson.
I think Selby's got to be the biggest shock.
Yeah, well, he's won it the last 2 years. But then again, Joe Perry was probably the hardest draw out of everyone. So I don't think it was the biggest shock. But then, it is a surprise to see the double world champion just sort of get knocked out straight away. He hasn't lost since 2015 or whatever. So I guess it was a bit of a shock at certainly for the opening day. Do you know what I mean? And then Graham Dott was knocked out, which knocked me accumulator on the head. But then it would be knocked on the head anyway further down the line. But by Neil Robertson going out. So only 3 of the 16. No, 3 of the 16 matches were wrongly predicted by me, which I don't think is too bad. I correctly predicted 13 of them. But Ali Carter obviously scraped through that match and went on to play Ronnie. You guys are so good. Thank you, Rivlod. Ding 8-5. Oh, I mean, he was 8-3 down when I stopped watching it, so he's come back a little bit. And he went on to play Ronnie O'Sullivan, and one of the big talking points over the weekend was that shoulder barge. I don't know if you've seen it on the news, but Ali Carter, he does have a tendency to be arrogant, and he's got one of those faces that looks quite arrogant as well, and I can... he was probably the only player left in the draw that could irritate Ronnie, and he did, and he managed to beat Ronnie 13-9 through the quarterfinals. He played Mark Williams, 2-time former champ, so it's wide open, and I think for the first time in a good few years, there's 8 players in the quarterfinal that could quite easily end up winning the whole thing. Usually there's a couple of players in there that you'd expect to lose, but that's it's been a good World Championship so far. 60 centuries, which is very good. I think the record is 83, I think. So let's just have a look at that. World Championship century record.
Just on the Ronnie O'Sullivan thing, I think, from what I gather, he's obviously very talented, but he kind of lets his temperament get the better of him sometimes.
Yeah, it was a thing that was like more of a thing sort of 10, 15 years ago. It hasn't really cropped up that much recently. But he has been a player that has sort of let his temperament get in the way of things, and sometimes he just can't be bothered, and that's fair enough when you've achieved what he has. There's nothing, some like it's like Hamilton some weekends doesn't turn up, and it's just the way it is. Sometimes top players don't. Anyway,
so who's going to win it?
For me, John Higgins or Mark Williams. I'd love to see Kyron Wilson win it. He got to the final of the Masters in January. I just think it might be a year too early for him. But
to be fair, he's quite well in both his games, hasn't he? Really, 10-3 and 13-5. I mean, it's quite dominant, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Rivlod saw it. He likes Ali Carter. He's faced so much adversity. Yes, he has, and he's come through that. That, just like the Senna thing doesn't necessarily change my opinion about them. I'm not saying I don't like Senna. I'm just saying that just because Ali Carter has come through, 2 bouts of cancer and he's got Crohn's disease doesn't mean I like him, and that's just the way it is. Joe, is this good? With Bournemouth 2017-18 season, I got a 6th position. That's pretty good. It's sounding good so far. Toby couldn't do that. So I have Europa League and won 3 matches out of the 3. The opponents are Benfica, Ajax, and Warsaw.
Stop! Breaking news: Facebook offer dating service.
Facebook to offer dating service.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's all the headline says. Carry on.
What, on BBC or
on? Well, he's just said it, apparently, in a statement.
Dear.
AFP news agency.
I thought Facebook owned Tinder, but
Don't ask me.
Rivload? No, I'm joking.
Ooh.
Hey, Ali Carter was the better player. Yeah, 100%. You know, Ronnie didn't play well in his first 2 matches. Am I watching the snooker right? I'm not right now, because if I put it on, the green screen won't work because I'll become green. So, yeah, I mean, shall we demonstrate it? Actually, no, because it'll just have loud telly noises if... Oh, no, I need to turn this off now. This is really bad. Ronnie has a massive ego. You know, he does, but equally, he's earned that right because he's the best player in the world. So, you know, you can have an ego to a certain extent. We've got some noises coming out. And I can't turn off the telly. This is awful.
Oh, dear.
Right. Oh, no, the chuckle's back. Anyway, I've muted it. To be fair, he's won so much, so you can't begrudge him. There you go. He's answered his own question. I have a lot of respect for him. Ding, Judd, or Kyron. I don't think Ding or Judd will win it. I think Ding... I don't think Ding's got the bottle to do it, to be quite honest with you. Judd doesn't have the game for it, I don't think. And hopefully, as you say, Kyron could do. Joe, did you read my comment? I've read it before. And he's just retracted that as we speak. Karen is winning currently against Mark Allen. Good, because I don't really like Mark Allen either. A lot of respect for that kind of fighting spirit. Can't you admire that? I mean, I admire that he got through 2 bouts of cancer. It doesn't change my opinion of him as a snooker player or as a person. You know, it's just the way it is. Where's Paul when you need him? Exactly. He would know about Tinder. He would 100% know about Tinder. Paul, are you streaming Football Manager tomorrow? Yes, I am. Judd made the final in 2011. Yes, you know, but he didn't win it, did he? The question was, who's going to win it? And you know, I said not Judd. It's like Mark Webber. You know, should have won the World Championship. Didn't win it though, did he? Anyway, we're getting off topic. You don't like many people, Joe. I just don't like many of the people that are left in the tournament. That's just the way it is, you know. 3 of the 8 players I'm not a big fan of, so there's nothing I can do about that. There's a lot of players I do like, though. So he does have the game to get there. He did have the game, but I think a lot has changed since 2011 in the world of snooker. You know, Judd came onto the scene, was potting balls everywhere, which he doesn't tend to do now. He doesn't tend to be as successful in that, and sort of scared players, really. And eventually he got knocked down in the final, and yeah, I mean, he hasn't been close, really, since. He got the semi-finals in 2013, and Ronnie dismantled him then, which was good. But yeah, I don't know if you've watched any snooker over the last 2 weeks and had any opinions about it, have you, Toby?
No, just watched in the background, really. Not really developed many opinions. But no, it's been quite a good tournament, hasn't it, overall?
Yeah, no, it has been quite entertaining and certainly distracting from work. But, you know, that's the way it goes. OMG, that was bad. Oh, what's just happened in the Bayern Munich?
Hopefully the hands shot out. Oh, that's not.
What's he laughing at?
Just myself. You're boring talking about snooker. That's worse than a book. Blimey. Someone didn't like snooker.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, I mean, it was in the title, so you know, if you didn't want to hear about snooker, then maybe tonight's podcast isn't for you. But I think that's the point. We'll talk about what we want to talk about. If people enjoy it, then that's fine. Pool is better. That is a very bold statement, Aaron. Very bold statement. I don't think pool has ever been a televised event watched by millions of people in the UK, has it? Now, answer that one. There you go. I mean, snooker was the biggest sport in the 80s, bigger than football. So, there you go. That's my answer to that one. Anyway, so for the last sort of 10 minutes of the podcast, do you want to talk about games, just to get some gaming into this podcast?
Could do, but I'm going to struggle. You asked me about this on Thursday.
Yeah. Have you played any games over the weekend, Toby? Tell us about God of War, actually. Obviously, you did the video on Sunday.
Interesting. I'll get it out to display to the audience.
Just getting it out to display to the audience. Keep your eyes peeled, everybody. There we go.
Here it is. I haven't seen anything of the PS4 version, so I don't know what to compare, but I know you have, so I'll let you speak in a minute. It was different to what I usually play. Obviously,
can I just say that, Aaron? There wasn't anything against you. I was just having a bit of a joke. Sorry. Anyway, go on.
It's completely different to anything I've played before, and it was quite not scary, but it could have been if I was a few years younger. But if you've watched the video like you have, Joe, it was a bit daunting because it was one of that. It didn't really have any tutorial. I mean, I had to look in the instruction manual to see how on earth you would actually, fight people. And then within 3 minutes, you get a big, massive, whatever it was, that tries to bat you. I mean, on the video, you'll see my reaction, just going, "Oh my God, what on earth is that?"
It was hilarious. But that's what puts me off playing the game. Like, God of War on the PS4 looks like it has a really good story. But I just can't be bothered with all this combat and, how you had to kill 900 people before you got to the next section. You had to kill that boss within 5 minutes of playing the game. It's just unnecessary, in my opinion. But
you can deal with the odd kind of big sort of battle, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, you obviously struggled to kill that thing, and
and I mean, it's only on normal difficulty, so for someone playing as a new... Obviously, it's a PS2 game, so we can't really give it too much critique, but for someone playing as a new gamer, well, you can argue with any game, really, that, like, F1 and all that sort of stuff. There's not really any tutorials on that, but... no, it was a weird one, because I was just thrown straight in. Obviously, and it's a little bit the same with Tiger Woods, and, in fact, all of them I've played so far. There's no real instructions, like with Tiger Woods. Okay, there was kind of the training academy, so I'll give it that one. But on G1 Jockey, there was nothing to kind of help you to train. Well, that was an interesting one, wasn't it?
It was just when you were whipping the horse when you weren't meant to be whipping it. It was funny. Anybody who hasn't watched the horse racing video, you need to watch it, because Toby's getting all excited because it's Grand National Day and he's got the bug.
Yeah, well, this weekend I've got quite a good one, but only me and you know that, don't we? But let's just say,
Joe, already. No, I haven't. I haven't. I remember now. All I'll say is Top Gear. That's all I'll say, and then you can work out the rest from there. Now, anybody who guesses it in the chat will become a moderator if they're not already a moderator, which is hard.
They all already.
Exactly, which is hard because you're already a moderator, most of you. So, no, I'm not into fighting games particularly. Rivload. Certainly not sort of the ones where just they throw enemies at you and enemies, because I just want to explore stuff at the end of the day, and stuff like God of War, especially on the PS4, it looks like it's got just so much stuff to explore, and I don't want to have to kill 50 enemies before I can move on to the next section. I just, but it's the way it is, and some people really do enjoy that, and
yeah.
I think it looked like a decent game, actually, from what you played of it. And certainly, but it looks like a long one, like most PS2 games, unfortunately. Yeah. So, Gran Turismo. I mean, You're thinking a little bit too obvious there, Rivlud. That's all I'll say. It's a very loose connection to Top Gear. Well, is it a loose connection to Top Gear?
Unless he's going on about any games he's looking forward to. I don't know. Is there any Gran Turismo this year?
Maybe. I think Gran Turismo's just come out, so like in October there might be another one.
Right.
But any games I'm looking forward to. Tennis World Tour comes out at the end of this month. I'm looking forward to that. That's made by the old Top Spin guys, so should be good.
What's that on? Is that on all the general?
Yeah. PS4, Xbox, and
What's it called?
PC. Tennis World Tour.
Because I haven't played a tennis game since Virtual Tennis 2009. I feel like it might have gone up in stature a little bit since then. But is
Maybe
it going to be
just
like...
a bit. But to be fair, there's only been like 3 games since then, so maybe not.
The cover looks quite good. I mean, I know that's not a crucial bit, but
is it the
good.
Stig Stuntman thing?
Not quite. So this tennis sport, let's talk a little bit about that. Is it fully licensed?
It's got a lot of licensed players actually. If you go on the Wikipedia for it, it's got all of the confirmed ones so far. And considering tennis games only have sort of 8 players usually, they have a lot.
Oh yeah. I've just seen that. Quick one. Ashes cricket. Let's talk about that for about 60 seconds. I've obviously already discussed it with you, but to put it out there to everyone now, I don't know if you guys knew, but I did do a career mode on Ashes cricket on my channel. And I stopped it basically because the game stopped saving my progress in the career mode. And I went back to it the other day. In fact, it was just installing an update on my Xbox. Sent a message to you for seeing that going, oh my god, what's happening? And they'd updated it, and, added all these new features. And I thought, if they've added all these new features, surely they've sorted out the fact that you can't save. The fact that I'm having a rant about it, I think you guys can probably guess what's going to happen now. So I recorded 2 new episodes. Took half an hour, 40 minutes out to say, way, we're back. Recorded the test match, and then went to the save menu, went back to that second test match. So, bad job, Big Ant.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, has been in their game for at least 2 months, 3 months.
Crazy, though. I mean, it's crazy. You can't say...
But I don't get how nobody else is having this, or if they are, why they're not making a big fuss about it, or maybe they are and Big Ant just aren't listening, but, apparently they've completely destroyed the batting mechanics anyway. I don't know.
It seemed alright when I was playing it, but...
Okay.
It did seem quite... I don't know if it was just because it was a quick outfield where I was playing, but I was pretty much hitting it ideal every time, and it was going really quickly to the boundary. That wasn't lofted balls, it was just attacking it. So, I don't know what was going on there.
Big Ant have fallen on hard times, and I've not heard anything about that, but...
They should be able to have a mechanism, though, which allows you to save your games.
Yeah.
If they can release an update of all these fancy pants things, that you can increase it, why can't you save the game?
I mean, maybe you just need to start a new save, Toby. Maybe that might work.
But then, yeah, that is true. But then you could get to
the same point,
and then it just does the same. Yeah. Any news on cricket, Captain Joe?
No, there usually isn't. To be fair, I remember sitting around on release day last year, and it didn't come out until about 8:30. And if you actually watched the video, I'd sort of given up on it, and it was I'd went out for a curry, raced back when it was released, and did a video on it. I don't know why. I could have waited until now, and there still wouldn't be any cricket captain content on YouTube. But I don't think there's... I mean, apparently it's had an update. 23rd of Jan. So, that's a fairly recent update for it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. The developers were meant to invite me down and to see the new game sort of around this time of year. I haven't heard anything from them since the giveaway, so... Who knows? I'm sure it will come out, though. It'll be about July, I'm sure. Any news on any more sports games? Obviously, F1 2018 will presumably be coming out. They've just sent round the beta keys, haven't they? So
yeah. Oh, no surprise I didn't get one then.
I didn't even apply. Didn't even bother.
I did. Yeah.
Didn't even bother.
Hold on. It's on Wikipedia.
What?
International cricket. No, oh, they've messed this up, haven't they? Yeah. Wikipedia being a bit stupid. Apparently, Cricket Captain 2018 came out on the 6th of July 2017, but that was Cricket Captain 2017. Move on.
Well, I tell you what. While we're on the subject, I'll go and check their Twitter and see if anything's come out of that. That's usually
Not really anything there.
a good place to go. But I haven't seen them tweeting recently. But you know, they might be in this very stream, and they might announce something. But I highly doubt that. You guys played Fortnite or Overwatch? Neither for me. I'm very doubtful you've played either of them either. So
Played Fortnite.
have you? Okay.
I did ages ago.
Okay.
I don't see what all the fuss is about.
Well, I think it's just exactly the same as PUBG, but
Yeah.
for some reason it's took off with.
It's one of them.
PUBG
it's one of
copied
them
off
that-
DayZ, I think it was. I think that was the game it was called. But yeah, I mean, there's been nothing cricket captain related from the thing since January. The rest has been sort of retweeting Agas or Test Match Special. I know Rivlud is a big fan of the TMS team, and they've lost the winter rights, unfortunately, which is a travesty, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, goodness knows what's happened to it. I'll probably drop them a message or something, see if I can get you some exclusive news for the next podcast.
More like it.
Analytics video coming out. I'm not too bothered about doing one, Rivload, to be honest. You know, I'm quite happy to just look through them myself. I don't think they do particularly well on the channel. I'm not sure many people are that interested. I think what we'll do in the future with them is sort of do 6 monthly or end of year reviews, so that, you know, maybe we'll do one in June for the first 6 months, and then we'll do one at the end of the year for the whole of 2018. The lack of care and attention for the game, yeah, I'm guessing that's big.
Yeah.
Remember what happened back in the day with the channel? What day? Are we talking FM15? Are we talking FM16? Are we talking Prison Architect? Are we talking Snooker Nation Championship? Are we talking Tomorrow Never Dies? The World Is Not Enough? I must be forgetting a game here. F1 2015? TalkSpoke suck with cricket. Don't know. I've funnily enough never listened to TalkSport's coverage of cricket.
I can't imagine it that brilliant.
Are you going to talk about that? I don't think there's much to actually say. TMS have lost the rights. They obviously just didn't bid enough, did they? So it's just the way it goes. They're not supposed to do well just behind the scenes. Yeah, I know, but like if nobody's watching them, then what's the point of making the video? Like me and you've talked about that a lot, Toby. Sort of, you know, we might enjoy making certain videos, but if nobody else is watching them, then is there a lot of point? Do you know what I mean? But I think that's extremely sad, apparently. Sorry, Rivlud. Sorry. Toby's already got behind the scenes access onto my channel anyway, so he can have a look. And I'm sure if you ask him kindly enough, Rivlud, he'll tell you all the goss. So no, I think that's brought us to a decent point there. So finish off the podcast. I don't think I've got anything else to say. Certainly, we've went well off the topics that we were meant to be talking about this
absolutely.
week. So it always happens. But 10 episodes in, thank you everyone who turns up every week or has turned up just for 1 week. It's really crazy, and that people actually like listening to us ramble on for an hour on a Tuesday night. We like having a good natter and arguing with some of you guys, particularly Rivlud. It's fun. You should do ARK Survival Evolved. I've never even heard of that, so there you go. Old lady players, I watch everything, so you can like it. Thank you, OLP. That's somebody that's well trained on the channel, isn't it?
We were going to do a series together, weren't we?
Yeah,
we even got to play a game.
Yeah.
Which we never played together.
Well, you know, inside info, we could be doing an F1 2012 co-op championship. We've both got the game. I made Toby go and buy it, but we've both got exams the next month and a half or so. So
3 weeks for me.
You know, well, okay then, a month for me. So maybe middle of June, back end of June, you might see something, and we might try and maybe do a short season or something. Maybe pick our 3 favourite tracks each and just do a six race sprint. Toby's gonna whoop me on that. Toby was 4th in the noob journey or something, weren't you? So you're a maths teacher, so I thought you'd still do it. I mean, I'm not a maths teacher for starters. I'm going to be a maths teacher, and also like I don't do it for the stats of it. I did it just to have a look at how many women are watching it and see if I'm gonna improve from the 5% demographic of female audience. Because I would like it to be 50-50 in all seriousness. I would like to be a pioneer in the community. But it's on PC and PS4. It's epic. Have a look. I shall. Plans for the summer? We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
we will talk about that another day. But no, thank you for all of the support of the last 10 episodes. We'll try and get another guest on in the next 10, like we did with Kevin episode 4. We'll try and get some sort of guest on over the next few weeks, and we'll see what we can do. But it might be a bit sporadic from now until the middle of June, as we've both said. We've both got exams, so don't expect them every Tuesday, but we will try our best.
Well, we will have one next Tuesday, but the week after it will be a Thursday. If that's all right with you.
Yeah, we'll have to work it out. It might even end up being a Wednesday night. No.
Ooh, that's pushing the boat out.
Hey, Toby, you're making it look like we're going on holiday together. We're not. We're going to the same place. We may overlap sometime in America. Right. I'm not sure if we will.
I'm sorry, but we've got to have We've got to have Tuesday Night Live in Florida. I'm sorry,
fantastic.
But you guys would all love that, aren't you?
That would be fantastic.
Even though it would have to be Tuesday afternoon, or you guys would just have to stay up very, very late. So
well, OLP would be able to come along. She'll be on that time zone. Does it take a long time to make?
The analytics videos.
Okay. Not particularly. It's just it's the whole thing with the reduced schedule over the next few weeks. That's just not a priority, unfortunately. No, FM and other stuff. Surely that's a question for Mrs. Goodspeed.
She can be the guest.
She's our guest for the next 10 episodes. Oh,
sorry, typo. One of. Blimey. Just get rid of me, it'd be you two.
I'm sure she'll come on at some point, and we'll have a chat with her about Minecraft or DS gaming. She's got back into DS gaming recently, so we might be able to get her into talking about brain training or something. But so no analytics video from now on. As I said, Rivload, probably 6 monthly to yearly videos now. But we shall talk about that another day. We've tried to outro this about 4 times now. Don't make it be a 5th, Toby. Anyway, so thank you very much for listening to us ramble, particularly tonight because we have had a good ramble. And I'm sure we will be back next week to talk about more fun things, such as who is going to be the world champion, because we'll know this time next week. And you'll see me probably eating humble pie saying, no, Ding and Judd definitely don't have a chance, and be them 2 in the final. I can just see it now. Pokemon. Right, I'm getting distracted. Thank you very much for... You what?
Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to Pokemon. No. Get me out.
Thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you next week, and I'll see you tomorrow for the stream. Toby will see you for Retro Sundays, I'm sure of it. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. I'd nearly hung up on you, Toby. We're still live here. I nearly hung up on you instead of stop streaming. So this time, everybody, bye-bye.